to The Executive's View, the sports podcast where the stakes are high and the debates are fierce. Please welcome your host, Aaron Sirius Simmons, alongside co-host Barry DeVille Jordan. Each week, we bring you into the boardroom where the elite minds of sports converge. From the gridiron strategies to the business behind the ball, we tackle the hard-hitting questions and give you an insider's perspective. So pull up a chair and join us at the table where champions are made and legends are born. This is The Executive's View. Let's get down to business.
What's going on, everybody? Happy New Year to everybody that is listening. Everybody is sitting here on the podcast, man. I'm your host, Aaron Sirius Simmons. Welcome to the Executive's View. This is the view from on top, man. You could be anywhere in the world here on a Thursday, but I do appreciate what you hear with us. I appreciate that, man. You guys know how I get started. If you see the show, share the show, man. We got big things on tap for 2025. We want to make sure we take everybody along for the journey with us. My co-host Villain is under the weather, so I got three men. We've doing big things today, man. We're gonna make it pop. I got my man Larry in the building. What's going on, my guy? Sir, how we doing?
Oh, good, man. Ain't nothing wrong with Villain, man. His feelings just hurt that his Giants is blowing the number one pick. That's what's wrong with him, man.
That is a true statement. That is a true statement. You know what? He was acting all kind of cool, calm, and collected in the chat. We know this man is ticked all the way off, man.
He's been over there throwing up chicken oil grease and cornmeal and all kinds of stuff. He's over there ready to have a heart attack, man. But it's all good, man. We gonna hold it down while he out.
Yes, sir, man. I got Coach in the building. What's going on, Coach? How we doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing all right. After yesterday, I made it through yesterday. I can make it through anything.
Yes, you did, sir. Yes, you did, and we will get to that here in a minute. But before we get started, man, I don't want to start the show doom and gloom, but we've had in the past 24 hours, we've had a lot of just crazy stuff going on in the world. It's unfortunate that, some people lost life outside of New Orleans. I mean, the New Orleans thing is definitely being talked about, but right up the back way from where I live in the metro, we had a suspicious vehicle. We had some shootings take place in New York. 2025 is not starting off well. But I definitely want to give you guys an opportunity to kind of speak your mind a little bit about it, and then we're going to move on to what we're here to do, man. Larry, talk to me, my guy.
Oh, man, I hated waking up that morning. The first thing I see on my phone is, terrorist attack in New Orleans. I'm one of them dudes that, and I guess everybody's the same way. I'm like, when you had a bad week and you got tickets to a game, you know what? That bad week just all of a sudden got way better because you be like, oh, man, I'm going to the game.
Yeah.
When you had a shitty day at work and you be like, oh, man, you know what? I got them Rockets tickets, man. I'm about to go to the game. And we all know how these games are, regardless if your team win or not. Some people go to the game just to go to the game. But if you've been to New Orleans, you got to remember that not only are people going for the game, people going to bourbon, people going to enjoy themselves, take a break from the day-to-day grind that we all go through, right? And I've been on bourbon. I don't know if y'all been on bourbon.
I lived there for 2 years.
Hey, so you drunk. You probably, hey, we all guys on here. You looking at some titties. You looking at whatever going on, whether it's a drag show, whatever the case may be. You see all those people, they come out in their wings on their back and all kinds of stuff on bourbon,
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing you're thinking about is some asshole's gonna run me over with a fucking truck. That's the last damn thing on your mind. When are we gonna get to the point where I guess we're not sweeping these people under the rug? This guy I'm in Texas, so this guy's from Texas. Steve, he's from the north side. They had his house blocked off, bro.
Yeah.
He was already posting videos about ISIS and all kinds of shit like this. when you watch the movies and all this other stuff, and you see the cops and they, they stopped this and they did this. What the fuck is going on in reality, bro? Like I'm on one tonight, bro. So like, what the hell is going on when you actually see, when you go in a mall and you may have said Nike and now you get all these Nike posts. So you don't see that this dude has said ISIS and all this other stuff, and you don't think, well, hey, we may be a credible threat over here. Maybe we could stop something for once, prevent it from happening. Like I said, it really kind of pissed me off because if you've been to that atmosphere on Bourbon, the last thing you thinking about is somebody plowing you down, and that's how I'm gonna put it, plowing you down with a vehicle, bro. Like we, as people who love sports, we know that feeling when you like all excited, especially when you got tickets to a big game. You're like, oh man, dude, I'm gonna be there, bro. Like I was at the Texans game when Peyton Manning broke the NFL record. I was like, oh my God, I'm here. Like I'm seeing this shit live. And the last thing I was thinking about was somebody gonna shoot me coming out the game, or somebody gonna run me over with a truck coming out the game. That's the last thing I was thinking about. It was the highlight of my week. It's a story that I still tell people to this day. The last thing I was thinking about, now I gotta tell people that I had tickets to the game and I'm marking myself safe from the terrorist attack in New Orleans. Like we gotta do better, man. People gotta really start not sweeping these people under the rug that may have these mental issues. We gotta
Right.
taking things that for likely, and it's sad, bro. It's sad, man. I got prayers up for everybody, that lost their life out there, or it's a lot of people that's injured. I hopefully don't have no long term disabilities from this accident. But yeah, bro, it's sad, man, that we can't even go and enjoy a game. We know that feeling that we have when we at a game.
Yeah.
You was on the sideline just a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Over
Sunday.
here going crazy.
Yeah, I was on that Sunday.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate, man. Life has a way of lifing, what I'm saying, and we don't know. And again, this is not our typical bag. So I'm gonna go ahead and get in and get out and let coach talk, and then we're gonna move. But life has a way of lifing, and according to what I'm reading from what was reported and everything, the young man, the man was going through a divorce.
I wish Chandler was on because he's a vet.
Yeah, the initial game plan was for this man to unalive his family, his kids, whatever it may be, and he chose to create this massive situation for others downtown New Orleans. It's unfortunate, man. Like I woke up to it, like everybody else did, and I'm like, yo, what the heck? And then the more I read, the angrier I became, and then come to find out, we had a shooting in New York, in Queens, and so we had that going on, and then there was some stuff going on in Chicago that I'm reading about. There was stuff, downtown DC. Like, why? Coach, talk to me, my guy. I'm gonna let you speak on it, and then I'm gonna move, and I'm actually gonna hit the game that we just saw, which was postponed from yesterday. Talk to me, man. How you feel?
I'm just gonna continue to just pray for the people affected by this tragedy. I will say this. I applaud everybody down in New Orleans for saying, you know what, there are things bigger than the football game. Maybe we shouldn't play the football game today. Maybe we should move it back. Because more often than not, we see, oh, well, the show must go on. So I do want to say that. And then I want to say talk about something that Larry said. It's like, you know what? We've all been down on Bourbon Street. Look, I don't know about y'all, but I'm always keep my head on the swivel. I've always been like, well, damn. I was like, what's going to keep somebody from getting drunk and driving? Because you know how it is. Everybody's walking in and out of bars, walking in the middle of the street. And I'm like, damn. And not even on some terrorist, stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, I would always think like, damn, what if somebody come through here drunk and just like hit somebody? That's just me because I'm just always paranoid in big groups and stuff like that, But I, just prayers to everybody in New York. in Queens, and then like the Cybertruck blew up in front of the damn Trump Hotel in Vegas, and it's just like, and then even just what we kind of back up a little bit, we had a similar thing happen in Germany at the Christmas market where my man got in his car and just mowed a bunch of people down, just celebrating the holidays. So I mean, it's not just America; it seems like the whole world, is just losing, screws left and right, and
right.
I just feel like, I end the show saying three things, and that first thing I say, is always God is good. And now more than ever, we have to realize that God is good, God is in control. And all we can do is just stay prayed up and just try to keep living our life the way that we can keep living it. And again, it's like, this is the only reason we're really talking about this, because it did get in the way, and getting in the way is probably a bad way to phrase it, but it did postpone a sporting event. So that's all I got to say about that. Let's get to what the people came here for, and let's talk about like sports doing what we do.
Yes, do we do, man. Let's do what we do. With that being said, the game that was just concluded was supposed to be played yesterday. However, due to the situation, it was postponed to the day. This game was not even really close, man. Notre Dame takes care of Georgia, 23-10, out there in New Orleans, man. I'm gonna go right back to you, Coach, man. I'm not sure if you caught any of this. How do you feel, man?
Yeah, I caught enough. I caught all I needed to catch. I mean, I got to see most of the game. I missed maybe about the first quarter or so, whatever like that. So I mean, it was a rock fight at first. I mean, that's the best way to describe these two teams. I mean, and that's what I think was going to happen going into it. Notre Dame, their defense is good enough for them to win this whole thing, and I've said this before. It's just they don't have to score a lot of points because their defense is just that good. Look, the freshman at Georgia, like he had a lot on his plate today dealing with that defense, and it showed. And again, 23-10 doesn't show just how dominant Notre Dame was in this game. Sometimes the score doesn't always tell the story. To reference Jay-Z, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. These numbers kind of aren't telling the truth, and I feel like the injury to Love is going to be something to look forward to and keep an eye on. I think that was the biggest thing that came out of this for Notre Dame, because they cannot run Riley Leonard the way they ran him today against Michigan. They cannot.
We gonna smack the hell out of that kid.
They cannot. And I'm not saying that just because we're on air with a Penn State fan. It's like Riley Leonard will not make it through that game if they run him the way they did. They were running him literally right up the middle. Again, Georgia, they've had some injuries all about, and I wonder if moving forward, will Georgia realize like, hey, we are talented. We are very talented. But it's like, I hate to say it, I hate to use the pun, but it's like Georgia didn't have that dog in them today, and it's just like you saw it in the SEC championship game where at times, now Texas couldn't take advantage of it, but at times Georgia just kind of just relies on like, hey, we're Georgia, like we're just gonna lean on you, and it's like Georgia isn't prepared for when teams hit them back in the mouth. Georgia's used to being the big team, the bigger, stronger, faster.
The bully. They're the bully.
Yeah, they're the bully. And then when they have a team that is just as big, just as strong, just as physical, it's like Notre Dame loves that. This is Notre Dame's identity. They want to muck it up. They love 13-6, 23. This is the type of team they are. And like I said at the beginning, it's like, no, this Notre Dame defense is good enough to carry them to a national championship. And I look, we'll talk about the other semifinal, but like I'm looking more forward to Notre Dame Penn State than the other game.
I'm looking forward to it too as a Penn State fan. Here's the thing: looking at this game, and Larry, I'll come to you here in a minute, man. I actually started doing house chores. I made some dinner for my son. put the dishes away. I peeked at it a little bit, saw a little bit. I jumped online and did some other stuff because literally after they came out at halftime and the dude, took the 98-yard kickoff to the crib, I was like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Like to use your pun that you use, Coach. They didn't have no dog. They didn't have that dog in them, and I refuse to subscribe. I'm seeing a lot of stuff on social media now. I refuse to subscribe to the narrative that because the game was postponed that affected how Georgia prepared and the psyche of it and this that and the third. Notre Dame had to do the exact same thing. Everybody in the building had to do the exact same thing. So Notre Dame went in there and opened up a can. Again, the score is 23-10, so it doesn't look like it's bad, but they got beat at the point of attack. They couldn't throw the football to save their life. They could barely run the football to save their lives. Notre Dame's offense, wasn't spectacular, wasn't all world. They beat them with special teams and defense. And that's, to your point, Coach, that's how Notre Dame loves to play, which is weird because if you think about Georgia, defense, special teams, being more physical, and they just got punched in the mouth. And Mike Tyson's famous phrase, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. They never responded. Man, Larry, talk to me, my guy. Notre Dame wins this one 23-10 in a rout in the Sugar Bowl, man. How you feel?
Oh man, this was my takeaway because I actually started watching this game. I forgot that they moved it to 3:00. I was still in the gym. 3:00 my time, by the way. But I was still in the gym and they had it on in the gym, so I was watching it while I was working out. And the first thing that I noticed, like y'all said, the physicality.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, when I look at this Georgia team, they haven't been able to run the ball all year. That's been their Achilles heel. And people are saying, "Oh, because Carson Beck got hurt." Carson Beck been throwing interceptions all season. Carson Beck has not been that good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think if Carson would have played, it would have been no difference in the outcome. I think it would have been the same outcome.
I mean, I will say this to kind of go back and forth. I think it would have been a little bit of difference because let's keep it a whole bean. Carson Beck is also he's been there before. He's played it before, and the way Notre Dame disguised their coverage and blitz and whatever it could be, the freshman was lost in the sauce.
Carson Beck. It would have been
23-13.
23-17.
23-17. I still think Notre Dame would have won the ball game, but like
you might have threw a pick six and it would have been 30-17.
I mean, and Carson Beck isn't nearly as mobile as Stockton is. Stockton, that kid can move.
Yeah,
that can't move. So it's like some of that pressure that kid, he was able to get away from some of that pressure, and Beck would have been different.
Beck had what was it like 9 interceptions or 8 interceptions in 3 games?
Yeah, he was throwing that ball away like turnovers, man. He was crazy.
Beck hadn't been looking that good, so I don't think it would have made a difference. Like I said, I think Notre Dame was more, physical with them. Also, I think that the play calling for Notre Dame was better. Like when it's crunch time, oh my God, they were like, "You think we're gonna run? We're gonna run this trick option pass run around the corner for this first down." I'm like, it got called back for illegal formation, but they were making the plays. Like they wasn't like just, "Oh, we up and we gonna sit back and play prevent and hope the clock run out." They actually played this game.
Yeah.
Hats off to Marcus Freeman, man. Deep down, like people that know me, I'm a closet Notre Dame fan. They was always my B team. I've been a Florida State fan, but Notre Dame was always my B team. So I kind of want to see them win a little bit. And then when they hired Marcus Freeman, I was like, okay, cool. They got a black coach. I want to see them really win now. Because who would have thought we would have saw a day with a black coach at Notre Dame?
Right.
Hey, I don't want to put that out there like that. But they was ready. Hey, we talk about when they pull up to your house and you got a for sale sign on your house, they was ready to run Marcus Freeman the hell up out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Like Marcus Freeman, his job was on the line. I think he's actually saved his job. Unlike what we talking about, the guy from Ohio State,
Ryan Day.
Ryan Day.
Like that dude he's literally saved his job. So I'm all for that. But I think that this is one of my things. The number one team in the SEC for the past 3-4 years has been Georgia, right?
Georgia. Mm-hmm.
Going into the season, Georgia was preseason number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I always say they overrate these SEC teams because when you look at the recruiting, you look at the transfer portal, guys are going to other schools. That guys are actually leaving Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, some of these SEC schools because they won't playing time, right? So now I'm like, they beat supposedly the best SEC team. Well, one of the best SEC teams. And now you have to say to yourself, y'all got to quit overranking these teams. Y'all got to quit giving them they flowers, ahead of time. They so quick to dismiss every other conference and say the SEC is so much better. SEC is this. Even the games that I've seen SEC teams win, they ain't just been wiping the floor with these teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, me and Chandler are quick to say, like, the SEC has not been really winning bowl games. And I know we're talking about Georgia and Notre Dame, but hell, Michigan wiped the floor with
Alabama. With Alabama.
And they had Milrow playing. Like, it wasn't like they had any like they backups or nothing like that. Like,
I will say this though, to your point, Coach's second favorite team, Ole Miss, is beating the brakes off of Duke right now. I will say that. So that SEC team is working.
Yeah, but it's Duke. It's Duke. Like I said, it wouldn't be happening in basketball, but in football, that's a whole other story. And but if you look at like the heavy hitters in the SEC, they either have not been looking good or they've gotten beat. So I just wish that the outcome of this would be quit overrating these.
It's not going to be that way because for as long as I can remember, and again, we got an SEC fan here, so I'm gonna let him go here in a minute.
He's ACC adjacent.
And I'm let the man cook for a second, but for as long as I can remember, it's always been SEC, Alabama, Georgia, Alabama, Georgia, Alabama, Georgia, Alabama. For as long as I can remember. I think with Notre Dame winning this ball game in the fashion in which it did, was Alabama falling on its face and the manner in which they did, and other SEC schools during this bowl season not faring well. We really do have to start asking the question: why do the powers that be overrate these SEC schools? Now, Texas is now in the SEC. So I'm gonna let
Tennessee got erased real quick.
It wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. Hey. But I'm gonna let my man talk about this game real quick. I mean, he talked about the game, but we're talking about SEC being overrated. And then if you want to parlay that into
I will say this. I will say this, guys. Okay, so here we go. The SEC is. They're a victim of their own success, to where the level of SEC play was so high to where now it comes down a couple of notches and it's like, oh, well, the SEC is so overrated. When the SEC was really cooking, when you had Bama winning the championships and LSU and Auburn, and you had these teams, it's like nobody was saying the SEC was overrated. Everybody agreed across the board the SEC is the best conference. Okay, so I'll put that out there. So then now, as a true fan of college football, it's like I would always say, now again, Texas was in the Big 12. The Big 12, top to bottom, nowhere as good as the SEC or the Big 10. The Pac-12, 10, then 8, then 2. It's like, they had good teams out there. It'd be Oregon, USC, whatever like that. I just feel like because the playing field is level now with transfer portal and NIL. It's like, look, I mean, they're an SEC team, but it's like Auburn has been killing it in the transfer portal. They're getting kids left and right. It's like kids still want to play for SEC schools because you get the money, you get the notoriety, you're on TV. They have their own damn network.
You get the weather. You know what I'm saying?
You get the weather, you get all this stuff like that. Yeah. And I mean, look, people. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to take a shot at Sirius's conference. It's like the Big 10 makes more money than SEC does. The Big 10 has all this other stuff too. It's like people like, oh, the SEC, the SEC, the SEC, the SEC. It's like the Big Ten has just as much money, just as much power as the SEC does. We talk about like the Power Five. It's really the Power Two. It's the SEC and the Big Ten. The SEC and the Big Ten, not just the SEC. The SEC and the Big Ten pretty much run college football. Whatever the SEC or the Big Ten wants to do gets done. So I'll just put that out there. And like I said, if you want to say the SEC is overrated now, that's fine. But I feel like the SEC has built up such prestige and such power to where, okay, yeah.
Well, Steve, I'm not saying that they overrated. I'm just saying look at these other teams too, and then come up with a fair assessment. Don't just say.
But we've said on this show from the beginning, since we started this show, that like preseason polls are bullshit. It's like they shouldn't do them first poll. Like I agree, first poll shouldn't be until like October. But it gives everybody else, it gives all the talking heads, the heads in boxes and on TV, something to talk about. It's like I've said that for a long time that I don't think the first poll should be, but it's like, no, it's just, okay, Mizzou. I'll get like Mizzou, we give Mizzou a lot of grief and I give the most grief, but it's like, Missouri is a good team. Missouri is a good program. It's like if Missouri was in the Big Ten, it'd be okay to have them perpetually in the top 25.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be okay then?
I look at when I look at a team, I look at who they got returning. Of course, now you look at the recruits and the transfer portal, right? And when you look at that, then you can say, okay, well, how do I want to base this off of where they should be at? And I see teams that actually have really good recruiting classes, really good now in the transfer portal, and they rank them so low. So now, say if you facing, like I say, we all thought Mizzou was overrated. We all thought Ole Miss was overrated. But if you get a win against them, and even if they were ranked 23rd because they're in the SEC, then now it makes your strength of schedule looks better. And now they can say, oh, well, that qualifies you to make the playoff championship. That's the part that I don't like. And I agree with you, Coach. Look, don't come out with no poll that goddamn early, because now people are getting wins against teams that they could say, oh, well, they were ranked at the time. Did they really deserve it?
I mean, we reference, again, it's like we reference like September Maryland. September Maryland's a thing. It's like, you see, you beat Maryland early, and it's like, hey, you beat Maryland. It's like, but then it's like by the end of the season, that win against Maryland don't look so good, dude.
I'm really be interested because, like you mentioned, what Auburn's doing with the transfer portal. You know who's building a sneaky good transfer portal?
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
Goddamn
right.
Tech is killing it in the portal. Oh my God, Tech is killing it.
And I want to see if we start the season and they like, oh, Texas Tech, yeah, you had a number 2 transfer portal, but you're not ranked. What? You're not ranked?
I think Texas Tech had a pretty decent, I think they had a pretty decent end to their season. And this is the new age of college football. You have to account all these other things with the NIL and the portal. And it's like, look, the Colorado and Arizona State, and we'll get to Arizona State here in a bit. They put on for the Big 12. The Big 12, which has been like the forgotten conference in this whole shift in like the, things, everything changing in college football. The Big 12 really kind of like said, you know what, we're still here, guys. We're still playing pretty good football in the Big 12. Now not everybody, but like the Big 12 is very top heavy. But the Big 12 acquitted themselves very good. They did very good in the postseason, so to speak. And it's just, I like I said, I would be very surprised if Tech wasn't ranked in the top 25 preseason poll, because what they have bringing back, what they've bought in addition to what they already had, I could see them being in the top 25. Yeah. And that's a Big 12 school. But Steve, yeah, they won't. But again, and then this goes to what everybody is saying. It's like you will have I don't know. I'm just trying to think. You will have a Arkansas team that's not as good, probably, or not as talented, but Arkansas will be ranked 16th somehow. So,
it's funny you mentioned that. My biggest thing, and again, I'm gonna let you go back here in a second because we're gonna talk about this game. I think the biggest thing that frustrates me is the simple fact that there are, I call them talking heads, that refuse to update their file. Like, to your point, coach, for as long as we can remember, 5 years ago, 6 years ago back, it's been an SEC driven college football, landscape, if you will. Now that, transfers are into place and teams are moving and grooving, college football playoff, is what it is. I don't think we got one SEC team there, and it's the transfer. it's the guy. It's the guy that just got there. You know what I'm saying? So, but with that being said, Texas did, get that win yesterday, beating Arizona State 39-31 in double overtime. Coach, this your squad, man. Talk to me, man. How you feel?
All right, so I'm actually gonna keep this short and sweet. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that game, to be honest with you guys. I'm gonna adjust my mic here, make sure I don't blow my new mic out. Okay, all right, there we go. All right, so first off, I'm gonna address Bert Auburn, our dear long curly haired kicker. I just, y'all know, I've been worried about two things all year. It's Quinn Ewers and Bert Auburn, and
And
boy,
Bevo.
and Bevo. Again, look, I know people who were there in Atlanta yesterday. Plenty of space for Bevo. I'm just saying. But like plenty of space for our dear Bevo. But look, Quinn Ewers. Look, I can't take anything away from him. The 4th and 13 throw was money. That was probably the best throw since there was a touchdown to Isaiah Bond against Bama like a couple years ago.
Oh wow,
Where
he was that far back there.
where he threw one, he scraped the clouds with that one, and it just fell right down into Bond's hands. That is now the second best throw that he's made since he's been in Texas. That throw to Golden yesterday was the throw to where when the Giants decide to select Quinn Ewers, to be their quarterback of the future, they're gonna look at that throw and they're gonna be like, oh man, but he did that throw in the Peach Bowl. This is our guy. But shout out to Villain. Look, I don't want to talk about Texas because Texas is Texas, and the defense, they were tired because the offense kept going 3 and out and kept penalties, and like they would get some momentum and then a holding, or Ewers missed some passes. He left some meat on the bone, so to speak. But Arizona State, I want to talk about Arizona State. I've talked about Arizona State on this show, and I love them. I hate that we had to play them and beat them. And it's like Arizona State did a lot of talking, and guess what? They backed up every single word they said in the game.
They weren't scared. They
were not scared. They got it going. Look, Cam Scatterboo won Offensive MVP on the losing team, deservedly so. It's like because he was the best player on that football field yesterday. You could say like Golden was fantastic for Texas, but Cam Scatterboo was just all over the place. Texas was kind of, balling him up, but then it's like he just hit a switch. And like I said, but I've been a big fan of that guy all year. And I was trying to tell people, I'm like, hey, y'all, like this Arizona State team's good. They're good. They're good. This is not just like some kind of fluke. I was like, they're very good. I was like, we should be worried about beating this team. We shouldn't just be a foregone conclusion. But I don't know. It's just, I am very upset at the multiple field goal misses. Once again, I talk about it all the time. Texas is undisciplined. And penalties and just like bonehead plays all about, and it's just, it kills me. It's one of those things where I'm not looking forward to this game against Ohio State. I'm really not. I might find something. It's a Friday night. It's like I think I can find something else to do on a Friday night, and I just don't understand where Texas is going to find the 28 points that they're going to need to beat Ohio State,
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm gonna rep my squad until Gabriel blows his horn, as we say, in the I have the Texas song, but man,
Let me
I
ask
don't know.
you a question real quick.
I said what I had to say in the group text yesterday, and I won't repeat what I said in the group chat yesterday. Y'all all heard my message yesterday. I won't repeat what I said about what I think about Texas, but yeah, I'm trying to remain calm about this whole thing, but it's just like that was not a good showing yesterday, and if they play like that against Ohio State, they're going to get embarrassed and they're going to get run out of AT&T Stadium.
Let me ask you this question, then I'll let Larry go. Targeting, yes or no?
No.
No.
So this is why it was not targeting, because it was, you have two players coming at the ball. Now, again, like, and then with targeting, it's like intent to injure, or like, he didn't leave his feet really. He was going for the ball. It was one of those bang bang plays where it's like, was he targeting or was he trying to make the tackle? And sometimes when you're trying to make a tackle, helmets collide. We all play football,
Right.
You can tell the difference. Like, some people think it was targeting. You guys might think it's targeting. But for me, and I'm not just saying this as a Texas fan, I feel like it wasn't the crown of the helmet. And that usually is what like denotes like this is targeting. Crown of the helmet. Contact with the helmet like that, I don't think it's targeting. But if it was the crown of the helmet, if he was leading with the helmet, then that's targeting. But I don't think it was targeting. I mean, and don't get me started on targeting, because there was a play in which there was an interception by Arizona State where there was a clear targeting on Bun, which wasn't called. So it's like, I mean, if we want to talk about targeting calls that weren't called, there was a couple of them yesterday. So
yeah. I think honestly, and again, I said this to a buddy of mine, and Larry, I'll let you go here in a minute. I said this to a buddy of mine. I've seen targeting called for significantly less. And we always say this here on this show. We just ask that the officials be consistent across the board. That way, players know how to respond and how to react. Based off of the image and everything that I've seen in slow motion, regular speed, everything like that, case can be made that was targeted. Now, again, I'm glad they picked it up. But if we follow the letter of the law, quote unquote, his helmet did connect with the other guy's helmet first. And so, and again, he kind of laid out there, and I'm not sure if he sold it or tried to sell it, whatever it may be. But again, I've seen people eject it for significantly less. So I was cool either way. Luckily for Texas and the player or whatever, it didn't get called. And to your point, Coach, the interception when the dude picked it off and then the other defender came by and cleaned him out, I was shocked that wasn't called targeting either, because that was clearly, again, based off the letter of the law, that was clearly targeting. Larry, talk to me, my guy.
Yeah. Before Larry gets in here, yeah, exactly. Yeah. We always talk about consistency. So it's like, if you weren't going to call that targeting, you couldn't call the hit on Taft targeting either.
Yeah. Larry, talk to me, my guy. Texas gets out the way with a win. Sets up an interesting showdown for next week. We'll get to that in a minute, man. How you feel?
First of all, if y'all know me, y'all know LG. I hate that goddamn targeting rule. I can't stand it.
I mean, we all hate it. I mean,
I'm like, first of all, there's no consistency to it. But it's fucking football, man. Let them play. Like, dude, it's gonna be some bang bang plays. I hate that target penalty. I really hate it in college, because in college it's so up for interpretation. And then on top of that, it's like, okay, yeah, you targeted somebody, and then now they out of the game, not only for that game, but probably the next game. Like, I hate the fact that you can literally go make a play on the ball, which that was a play on the ball. I don't think that it was a like a dirty hit. Like I said, he didn't lead with the crown. He basically went for the ball, but they basically, it was almost like they hugged damn near. It was like one of those bang bang plays. He almost like hugged him, and they had to go back and review it. They stopped the game for it. Like, that's, to me, I think that was more of a detrimental to Arizona State than anything, because that's a momentum killer. Like, Yeah, like we gotta stop the game and y'all gotta stop it for like at least 5 minutes while y'all go review this.
It was the third down play.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
So
like,
here's the funny thing about it is
yeah,
like I'm watching Arizona State fans again. I'm in 50% different chat groups, whatever, and they're saying that to your point, it short momentum. Even if he caught the ball, like even if that play didn't happen, he was short the first down regardless. So it's third down
yeah,
play.
yeah. And like some stuff you can look at it immediately and be like, oh, I would have thought that was targeting. I hate that targeting call. Um, I'm gonna say this. Hey, hats off to Arizona State, man. That team, they played their ass off, man. Hey,
Yeah,
and
they did. Yeah, they did.
I'm one of them dudes that like I like it when dudes be themselves, like had that swag. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Scatterboo, he say, man, I'm the best goddamn running back in the nation, man. Can't nobody stop me. Then he go out there and show them, yeah, y'all can't stop me. I'm throwing touchdown passes on y'all. What y'all want?
Yeah.
Like, dude, I hate it where people are they don't want to be themselves or authentic because they thinking about the PG aspect of it and oh I get it. It should be some type of sportsmanship. But hell, I feel like having that confidence in yourself is some type of sportsmanship. Like I said, that team, Arizona State, they play really good. Like they beat the BYU team, and hey, BYU ain't no joke. Like yeah, that's a damn good team. So I'm giving them their props, bro.
Yeah.
On the flip side,
No.
look, hey, Texas, bro. Like I get it, a win is a win, but man, are y'all like scraping by the back by the back of your teeth or something? Like, man, oh my god,
Survive in advance. You gotta survive in advance,
like
man.
the most egregious thing that I take from that whole game, right? Remember I said in the chat, I was like, dude, Sarkeesian, do you got like, because he works around with his little play sheet, is it like pass, 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 run, pass, 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 pass? Like, all they had to do was basically run the clock out.
Run the
The
Well,
damn
damn ball.
here's the thing, and here's the thing, and me and my cousin were talking about this. My cousin's worse than me, and he was like, so he's like, every running play doesn't have to have misdirection. How about you try this weird thing where you line up and you just
Dive.
run the ball?
It's
Every run
called
play doesn't have to be some sort of like misdirection counter, like whatever, like that reverse, whatever, like that. Just run the damn ball.
hit the A gap. Hit the A gap, bro. Like and I feel like with Sarkeesian I hope it don't come back and bite him in his ass. It's like you
It's
run
going
the
to next
ball.
game if they don't get it together. It's going to next
Oh,
game. Ohio State,
he got a juggernaut in his face coming up. But
Ohio State ain't no joke.
hey, I'm gonna say this, right? So sometimes when the game is that close and you got it was like 2 minutes, like 2:30 something on the clock.
Mhm.
Every run play is not to run the ball to gain yards. Sometimes you need to run the ball to run the clock out. We
You
all
know,
you
they had 53 yards rushing yesterday.
you ever seen
53.
Varsity Blues? And he say
Yeah.
you grind the clock out.
Grind the clock.
Sometimes you need to grind the clock out. You need to basically, even if it's for a negative yard or 1 yard, make them burn their timeouts.
Yeah.
So that way they ain't got no timeouts. Make them, get the ball back with 12 seconds left on the clock. Like every time you would see Texas run, and it was for a 1 yard loss or a 2 yard pass, 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 pass. I'm like, dude, bro, you keep calling these pass plays and you stopping the clock for them. Like eventually that's gonna bite you in your ass.
I
Like,
mean, this is the same team that ran for almost 300 yards against Clemson. If you're
I
Clemson,
mean,
you're like, well, what were we doing out there? It's like they ran for 38 yards against Georgia. They run for almost 300 against Clemson, and then run for like the length of my damn living room. You know what I'm saying? Like against
53 yards.
but you know what I noticed, Coach? On that Clemson game, a lot of those runs were long runs. Sark, he gets
they were,
into
and that, like the blue run that pretty much won the game for
yeah,
him. That was a power left play. It wasn't misdirection. It was like, okay, blue, toss left, like power, like bam.
yeah.
break a tackle, 77-yard touchdown. It's like Texas doesn't do that enough. Like I said, it seems like every damn now y'all getting me started. It's like every goddamn like running play is like a misdirection or something cute. It's like that cute stuff is okay when you're able to move the ball. It's okay to do that every once in a while. It's like y'all can't even line up and consistently get 3 or 4 yards. It was 1 yard. It was negative 2 yards. It was one. It was just.
But then the thing is, like, he will run one run play and like 8 pass plays behind it. Like, dude, you need to grind the clock out, bro. Like, that's all you got to do. Grind the clock out. You letting them back in the game. Like, that's the most frustrating part about watching Texas play. And that's not even talking about Quinn Ewers. Dude.
Let's not.
I get it. He was clutch, but he would not have needed to be clutch if he would make the throws that he need to make. Like,
I heard a coach. My coach said this, and Chandler said this several times on this very show. Every quarterback needs to make at least 3 to 4 throws to either win a game. Yeah, to win a game. You got to make 3 to 4 throws and they have to be there. Like, you can throw the ball 40 some odd times, but you have to make at least 3 to 4 throws to win a ball game. And it seems like Quinn Ewers, for whatever reason, refuses to make that throws.
I hate to say it, but they defense saved their ass.
But that's been the MO. It's like the defense has saved it. Like, the only reason they didn't get blown out by Georgia in the SEC championship game was because of the defense. I mean, the only reason when Clemson was making that comeback, so to speak, in the game, like, the defense tightened up. It's like the defense, like, again, what happened in the second half of that game was the Texas defense got tired. They were tired because whenever the offense went out there, it was 3-and-out punt.
Yep, 3-and-out. Are you, like I said, are you calling a pass play, which we know that pass play is going to stop the clock? So now Arizona State gets the ball back. Like I said, the defense saved their ass yesterday because either it's the NFL or it's college, but boing, 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 dude.
Bert Auburn is the worst kicker in college football, and it's just like, you mean to tell me in Austin, like, with all the people who can kick a ball, and he's the best you got? It's just like, what did Sark say to him in that little speech before he went out there and shanked that shit? Kicked the kid. What did he say? What did he say to him?
Like, you got this. Twice. And this is the most egregious thing to me, right? The first one, I get it. You doinked it, right? The second one was shorter. So how do you come off of a doink? And most time, kickers, they like playing golf. They get that swing in. Okay, cool. I know what I need to do to hit the second one. You missed the second one. Like,
the second one was horrible.
I mean, to borrow a baseball term, he got the yips. And I don't know how you can correct it between now and next week, but I mean, he definitely got the yips. I mean, look at this motherfucker. Like, I mean, like, what was he even listening to anything that coach was saying? You know what I'm saying? It's like, Bert, just went in one. I'm sorry for getting, but it's like seriously, dog. Like, were you even listening to anything that coach was saying to you? He was trying to offer you some motivation, trying to like offer, like, hey, Bert, it's okay. You missed the first one. Like, go ahead. It's just, and see, here's something else. It's like, and I'm just gonna say this. We can move on to the Rose Bowl. There were points in this game where Texas was moving the ball. And then once again, undisciplined. It's like moving the ball. It's like, oh, and Texas converts on third down, but there's a flag. Big play by Ewers connects with him. Holding, illegal formation or whatever like that. It's just like, this team is undisciplined. Like, and that starts at the top. And it's just that they continue to make these mistakes and these costly mistakes, and it's going to cost them next Friday.
Steve, you know who you remind me of, bro? And this is painful for me to say that. So, we're going to keep it college, but I'm going to just say this, right? 49ers had Robbie Gould longest time.
Mm-hmm.
Dude accurate as all hell, but he did not have the leg. Oh, we did get Jake Moody. Jake Moody cannot hit the fucking side of a barn right now, but also he does not hit clutch kicks. Gold was clutch kicks. With Texas, oh, you need a 60-yard field goal with no pressure. Sweet as all day.
Mm-hmm.
He put pressure on every time he needed to make a big kick to go win the game. You know what he did? He turns into Jake Moody, missing it left and right. It's like some of these kickers and these coaches, they get so fascinated. And like Steve say, they probably got some high school kid right now that can consistently kick field goals in Austin. Right now, he probably over there at the stadium right now kicking 60-yard field goals with his t-shirt and his jeans on, and with his cowboy boots. But
Not the
you
Cowboys.
you laughing there? Hey, Steve,
No,
I'm
that's
dead serious.
facts. Look, there's some kid at Austin High. There's some kid at Bowie. There's some kid I can go through all of the Austin high schools. There's some kid in McCallum High School right now that's about 15 minutes away from UT's campus. They can probably outkick Bert Auburn right now.
Yeah, like for real. And like I said, and probably have that, I call it that clutch. Like some kickers, they can kick it with no pressure. They can kick it 70 yards, but when the pressure's on them, they miss them. And that's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe that will come back and bite you in your butt. Like I was watching the other day, and they was Tom Brady was talking about Adam Vinatieri. Adam Vinatieri, bro, he could have the worst season of all hell, but you know what he did when it was time to kick that clutch?
He was clutch.
Money,
He was clutch.
money. Hey, and it's just sometimes you see these kickers, and I wish Barry knows the pain. You know, we Florida State fans, so we know the pain of having a kicker who cannot hit the clutch kick. And it don't matter what Sark said to him when he went out there. I don't know if his nerves, I don't know if he had the BGs, whatever the case may be. But I'm like, what the hell? Dude, that second one, I was really like, oh my, I say, man, Steve about to have a heart attack over there.
And like I said, look, I had to take my son's girlfriend back to the airport, so it was probably for the best for everybody involved that I was on the interstate driving out to Pittsburgh International while that was going on, because boy, yes,
I told you, I called him. Like, yo, you straight? He goes, I'm good. I was driving.
They probably was like, man, why are you doing 120?
yeah. If not for the snow yesterday, I couldn't do it. It's like I wasn't going to. I almost put the game on in the car, and I was like, I'm not going to put y'all through this. All right, so we're just gonna listen to some music or whatever like that. I will just act like nothing's going on, but you know what? This is a good segue to a game I did see all of, the Rose Bowl.
Speaking of which,
Didn't need to see all of that one.
Ohio State put belt to butt. This game was over within the first 5 minutes, and it wasn't. And it was a rout. Yeah, I'm being nice. I mean, I'm being nice. But Ohio State. Remember what took place earlier this year? Remember they lost to Oregon on a controversial slide from Howard, trying to get the field goal position. They won by 1 point. Everything that we listened to and heard leading up to this ball game is that this is the time where Oregon kind of fluxes itself, reminds people of why they're the number one team in the country. Ohio State said, hold my beer.
Yeah.
It was a rout. I've never seen a Ryan Day coach team dismantle a number one seed or a team like that. And again, I'm a Penn State fan, so they beat us up several times, but
not like
the biggest knock on Ryan Day, James Franklin. Again, I'll talk about my game here in a minute. Was that they failed to win the big one. They failed to win the big one. Ryan Day said, again, say that again. I've never seen this before. Larry talked to me, my guy. I mean, we was all sitting there talking about it in a group thread yesterday as this game unfolded. Again, this might be the time for Coach to go take his his son's lady back to the airport because again, 5 minutes into this ball game, and you can do whatever you want to do, man. Talk to me, my man. How you feel?
Hey, you know what? This Ohio State. Ohio State is another example. That's why I say Ohio State, they recruit really good players, dude, especially at the skill positions. Like, oh my God. People talk about LSU being wide receiver U, but hey, Ohio State, dude, Ohio State can recruit some receivers, bro. And all I can say about this game, I'm gonna start by saying this, right? Remember one day we was talking and CK say, I don't think that some of these shows really watch us. And he say, man, don't never think that nobody ain't watching us, right? Every time we badmouth somebody on here, y'all know what they do?
They go out there and show out.
They start being world beaters, man. Like,
show out, man.
We were dogging Ryan Day, like dragging that dude through the mud, bro. And he was like, you know what? He like hit the Jay-Z, allow me to reintroduce myself. Like, for real. Like, this game, I was like, because I watched the first game and I was like, yeah, first game was amazing. Came down to just, 1 or 2. I think Oregon won by a point, right? So I'm like, okay, they about to bare knuckle fight it out again. I was like, wait. No, I'm holding the towel. Like, man, do we throw it in now? What? I was like, what the hell? Like, they knocked them out in like the first. I'm gonna say, you said 5. I'm gonna say like 3.
I said 5.
Like, you ever heard that statement, established dominance? They established dominance from the beginning, bro.
It wasn't even
like,
bro.
And when you look at like Howard, dude, people were bagging that dude. Like, they were like, oh my God, he's transferred, he's not gotten any better, he this and this and blah. And I get it. Like, what's the dude name? Smith. Smith is a monster at receiver.
Oh, Jeremiah Smith is
he's a monster. He's a monster. But Howard made other throws too. He made some good plays in that game. And even when Oregon said, you know what, we're gonna do something, they were like, you know what? Yeah, y'all just scored, but you know what? We're gonna run one right back on you. Like, this game, I hate to say it, but Ohio State could have easily put up 50-something points in this game. Easily put it up. And when I say established dominance, we talk about, the Georgias, we talk about, these other teams, right? Oregon actually had the number 1 defense in the nation. Like, that Oregon defense it's probably gonna be 5 or 6 guys that play in the NFL on that Oregon defense. And they literally was like, we don't give a shit. We don't care who y'all is. And they boat raced them, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie, man. It was like one of them jaw-dropping moments. You like, what? You was like, man, that dude is a monster. And like, people over here now, they talking about, oh, he was coming out this year, he would be the number 1 pick. I'm not gonna say that because we know how NFL teams look at players. But and we seen what happened, with some of these Ohio State receivers. That will be my one, little knock. But yeah, whenever he do declare, bro, yeah, the dude gonna be nice, man. He putting up some numbers. It's gonna be interesting next season with him and what's the dude that won the Thorpe at UT?
Yeah. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, him and Barron. That's gonna be must see TV next year.
That's gonna be a nice little matchup.
Honestly, for me, man, watching this ball game, man, it was interesting because I can't stand Ohio State as a Penn State fan, and Oregon's in the conference. They beat us for the Big Ten championship, and I really felt as though me as a Penn State fan, we kind of let both games slip. We was in it with Oregon, we was in it with Ohio State, and we didn't make the plays that were needed. But I just enjoyed watching. I'm a sucker for good offense. I feel as though a great offense can beat a solid defense, and what I saw on display from Ohio State just from the moment go was just impressive. Jeremiah Smith is that dude. watching Will Howard atone for his mistakes when they played him the first time. They kept referencing it and showing the clip and showing it and this, that, and the third. And again, as a Big Ten guy, I sat there and watched a lot of Big Ten football. Will Howard, played okay, but he never really could punch above his weight class. When he played Oregon, he didn't play well. Obviously, when he played Michigan, he didn't play well. When I saw him yesterday, this man was just, Patrick Mahomes playing Pittsburgh on Christmas. He was hitting everything. Everything was open. It didn't matter who he threw it to. It didn't matter what Ryan Day dialed up. It was there. Chip Kelly was calling, runs like it was no tomorrow. The power always leaned forward. Dylan Gabriel was uncomfortable all day. It didn't matter, what the down and distance was. Ohio State seemed to have been able to get pressure from anywhere on the field, whether it was they rush with their front four, whether they were, bringing blitzes off the corner. This game was a reminder, and again, I'm my stomach is turning as I'm saying this, but this game was a reminder for those people who forgot how gangster Ohio State really is. And
go ahead.
It's unfortunate because I got a Texas fan here, and he's gonna have to deal with this monster next week, man. Go ahead, Larry, talk to me.
No, I was gonna say that the one thing that I wanted to mention too that I didn't like was they were kind of giving Oregon a pass. And they was like, oh well, the teams that had to bye haven't been looking well and all this.
Well, they all lost. They all lost.
I get it, but okay. So what, y'all didn't practice when y'all had this bye, and they were like, oh well, these other teams have played, and like don't make it a cop out, because when I looked at that game, it looked like it didn't matter what Oregon did the week before. They was not beating them, bro. Like,
well, see, so let me say this. Outside of Arizona State, and Texas, the other three schools got blown the hell out. It wasn't even close.
I get it.
Like what we saw from Georgia today, what we saw from Oregon yesterday, what we saw from Boise State on Tuesday. Again, shout out to Penn State. We did our thing. But 3 of the 4 squads that had the bye were blown out. And if it wasn't for Texas being Texas, you know what I'm saying, Arizona State would have probably got blown out too.
I put it like this because one, Oregon was the number 1 team, and like I said, but Ohio State has been on a run since that Michigan loss, and I'll go even further and say this, right? They were the number 1 team, and people are like, oh well, these teams that had the bye, and they've been off of these other teams. They've only played 1 more week before y'all. So what the hell was y'all doing this week before y'all had a bowl game? Teams have been off for a month before they played a bowl game. So I feel like they was giving them an excuse, giving them a cop out. When I hate to say it, it literally looked like they wouldn't have been able to do nothing with Ohio State, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
No.
We say this a lot in the NFL, and it holds true. I guess in college, it's very difficult to beat a team twice.
It is.
And again, Ohio State and Oregon matched up earlier this year. We're in the same conference. I'm curious to see what takes place if we get a Big Ten championship game. Because again, Penn State played Ohio State, so I'm very interested to see how that plays. I'm not saying Texas is going to lose or we're going to beat Notre Dame, but
you can go ahead. You can go ahead. I'm not going to take any.
But anywho, it's very difficult to beat a team that you were the same. And we see the NFL and with this playoffs, the first year of the playoffs and with how the bracket's looking. Ohio State saw Oregon twice, and if Ohio State and Penn State get past their upcoming opponent, we'll see them twice. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it shakes out, man. With that being said, I did want to pivot to Penn State, Boise State, man. And again, I want to say this. Can we stop the Alshon Gentry hate, please? Can we stop that? I'm sick and tired of watching home cooked, sports media. I'm sick and tired of watching fans talk about how he got exposed when he played a real team, this, that, and the third. Now stop it. This man is the runner-up of the Heisman. He's ran for 140 some odd yards, even in a blowout.
He had a couple fumbles. I mean, that first fumble was just devastating.
It was devastating. It was tough. But again, I will give him that. I mean, he didn't play his best clean game, but this game was lost on the defense side of football. Like, we did whatever the heck we wanted to do when we wanted to do it. Tyler Warren doesn't get the credit that I feel as though he deserves because he's Tyler Warren and he's in the league.
I mean, he's the best tight end in college football.
He's the best tight end in football. But I mean, here's the thing. When you're in a class with Alshon Gentry, Travis Hunter, and whatever the case may be, he doesn't. He got one Heisman vote.
He's not gonna win the Heisman. I mean, but
Ward and all these guys. So
he should have won the Mackey, which is like
yeah.
So I mean, like him not winning the Mackey was kind of wild to me. I mean, because he's the best tight end in college football.
Yeah. So with that being said, I felt as though this game was really never close. I felt as though Penn State pretty much jumped on 14-0. And we just really never looked back. My biggest bugaboo, and again, this is to what you said, Coach, about Steve Sarkisian. James Franklin's play calling annoys the hell out of me. It annoys me to no end. I really do hope and wish that he would just run the ball. Just run the ball. Line up and just run it forward. Drew Aller is great. We do have some amazing receivers, and Tyler Warren is Tyler Warren, but not everything needs to be, a kill shot. Everything needs to be, 14, 15, 19, 20 yards down the field all the time. And again, playing Notre Dame, I'm very curious to see how this matches up because what we do well is what Notre Dame does well. We play offense, they play defense. We want to go, 0 to 100. We want to go 90 some odd yards in 3 plays, and Notre Dame wants to make you methodically figure it out. So I'm very curious to see how this thing shakes out. Coach, talk to you, man. New Year's Eve, Penn State, started this whole thing off with 31 to 14-1. Man, how you feel?
Yeah, I feel like this was a game where Penn State never would threaten. I just feel like they just kind of had their arm out. Almost like how you do your little brother. You put your arm out like
they're swinging.
They swing and then they and I feel like Penn State was doing Boise State like that. And again, like anybody hating on Ashton Genty after the season he's had is like ridiculous. I mean, it's like he had an amazing season. I mean, and Penn State's good. Penn State. I mean, that's what happens. It's like he doesn't stink because he played a good defense, and he still had a pretty damn good game. I feel like I said earlier, this Notre Dame Penn State game, I'm really looking forward to. Now, Drew Aller has been staying composed, staying within himself. He hasn't gone all willy-nilly. He's kind of like what he is doing, and what I love what he's doing. And Sirius, you can speak to this much more than I can. Is like he is seeing the man open and throwing it to him. It's like, hey, open receiver, boom, open receiver, boom. Let's move. Yeah, we can move the ball vertically, but let's be smart about it. And that's always my thing with him. And it's just like, if he can continue to, and people use, now I don't want to say he's a game manager. I just feel like I love when this kid can just kind of stay within himself and not try to do too much and just make the easy throws. It's like sometimes he tries, like you say, it's like, let's get it all in one play. That's not how, especially against Notre Dame, that's not how it's going to work.
That's not going to work. Right.
I feel like the best game plan for Notre Dame is and again, he's going to have to get the ball out of his hand quickly.
Yep.
And I feel like that's something that Penn State can do well is like those little short routes, and they do that very well. Those little short routes, those little slant stuff like that. I feel like that's going to be the key to Penn State being able to move the ball against this fantastic Notre Dame defense. Like I said, I'm looking forward to this game more than the other game for various reasons. To just to just backtrack a little bit to the Rose Bowl, like Ohio State, they have a $20 million roster, and we've made fun of that $20 million roster. And I've said it in the group chat, and Villain has said it, and it's like Michigan like woke up something in this Ohio State team, and they realized, wait a minute, we're just as big, just as strong, just as fast as everybody, probably bigger and stronger and faster than most people. We should play like it. And then they have two stud running backs in Henderson and Judkins. Like both of those, like either one of those guys could be a top back at any school in the country, just about. And then you have Will Howard, who like took a lot of crap from everybody after the way that first Oregon game ended. And for him, like Will Howard has probably been the best quarterback in the playoff. The ball is not touching the ground. Now, when you have Smith and the rest of these receivers to throw to, it's easy for the ball not to touch the ground, but he's delivering the ball. I mean, totally decimated Tennessee. We saw what he did yesterday. Will Howard has put it together. Chip Kelly, it was a little personal for Chip yesterday. We talk about they could have scored 50. Chip Kelly probably wanted to put like 65, 70 on Oregon. He was trying. He was trying his best. Things kind of slowed down a little bit in the fourth quarter, but he was trying. It wasn't for like a trend. Chip Kelly was trying to hang 60 on Oregon yesterday, but
Hold up. Oregon had negative 23 yards rushing.
Negative 23
28 attempts, negative 23 yards rushing.
Well, you got to remember James got hurt.
Sacks count as negative rushing yards. So how many sacks did Ohio State have?
A lot.
Dylan Gabriel himself had minus 43 yards. So let me see.
So how many sacks?
Let me take a look at this.
I thought it was at least 7 or 8.
Yeah, he got smacked around a little bit.
And a lot of pressures. Like they had a lot of TFLs, but remember James didn't play. James got hurt, so he didn't play. But hey, you know what I wanted to tell you, Steve?
Yeah. I'll pull up in a minute.
I'm proud of Chip Kelly because Chip Kelly said let's run Chip Kelly's offense 2.0, and Chip Kelly's finally gotten out of we got to run 49 plays in 30 seconds. Chip Kelly has finally came back to the reality of how football is played.
Eight sacks that counts toward the rushing total. So that makes sense that they had negative 23 yards rushing.
Yeah,
that's insane. but yeah, like you were saying
about Dylan Gabriel 8 flipping times. I know it was a lot, but God, dog,
8 times.
He was looking like Dylan Gabriel in Norman.
No, yeah. I mean, he was like, wait a minute, I left Oklahoma because I didn't have, and it's like, but that was brutal. It was brutal to watch. It's just like you saw what you saw was, again, I don't want to hear the cop out about like, oh well, they've been like all 4 of the teams who quote unquote had the byes lost.
They all lost.
They all lost. And so it's like, so Texas had an advantage against Arizona State because they played, it's like Penn State didn't have an advantage over Boise State because like they've been playing or whatever like that. I just think that's stupid. So you can just throw that out the window. I don't want to hear all that. But what I will say, my biggest takeaway from these quarterfinal games was, man, look, these defenses, there are some. Look, Texas defense, even though they got tired in the second half, Texas defense is legit. Oh, this Ohio State defense, like we just talked about, this 8 sacks against Dylan Gabriel, who hadn't been touched all year. Right. And you get 8 sacks. This Notre Dame defense is amazing. Penn State's defense all over the field. It's just defense. As we always, the old adage, defense wins championships. It's going to come down to, can one of these offenses break through? It's like, I give Texas a lot of grief, and I'll just say this, and I'm definitely putting on my Texas fan hat here. Texas hasn't played its best game yet. And that should worry Ohio State fans to where, boy, I tell you, if this Texas team comes out firing on all cylinders, look out. Because Texas has not played their best game. They haven't played a real like. I would say the best game they played this season, like what things were firing all cylinders, was probably the Florida game. And Florida didn't have DJ Lagway, so I kind of put an asterisk by that. But it's like, man, like that would be my one concern for the Ohio State fans. Like, as bad as Texas has looked, in the SEC championship game, and then as bad as they look against Arizona State, especially in that second half, it's like, man, what if these boys put together a full game with all that talent they have? It's just something to look forward to. But like on the other side, man, whatever the under is for Notre Dame, Penn State, take it. You take some betting advice from old Steve-O. Whatever the under
is. It's Notre Dame -1.5.
What's the total?
46.5.
Yeah, take the under. That thing's gonna be 19-13.
46.5, and Ohio State at Texas is 53.5.
Man, you know what?
Yeah,
hey, can I jump in serious?
45 points, so it's like 45. If you give Texas, 10, 45, 40. That's 55. So yeah, I don't know.
He said give Texas 10. What the?
You forgot the carry the 2, Steve. Yeah, it up real quick.
Nah, but yeah.
Man, hey, you know what I want to say? That the most thing that pissed me off. I'm with you on the Gentry hate, man, because people are like, oh, well, he didn't play less games and he's playing more games. Man, that's just reality, bro. That's just what it is. I mean, hell, I remember when bowl game stats didn't count, like but now bowl game stats count. So who cares? If it is what it is. It is what it is. The most frustrating thing to me watching that game was, how we always talk about coaching matters. Coaching matters. Penn State literally, if they could put 12 men in the box, they would have put 12 men in the box. And you know what Boise State kept doing? Running the ball right up the middle. And I was like, why is they coach? Did he not come up with another game plan thinking, well, maybe they will stack the box against Gentry? That was the most frustrating thing. What this dude had, I mean, he the fumbles was crucial.
I will say this stuff. They had 1, 2. I mean, the quarterback threw for 304 yards. He only threw one touchdown. He threw for 304 yards.
Yeah, because they got down, but he kept. It was like literally watching them just doing like this. Keep running the ball, keep. And I was like, y'all must did come up with another game plan except run Gentry. And Penn State was like, they basically played right into Penn State's hand. I mean, I'm not taking it away from Penn State. Penn State played an amazing game. And if you play into my hands, then you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna smack your ass around. And it was like you could see it. Even the announcers was like, "Oh, it's an 8-man box, 9-man box." And you know what the play call was?
Gentry, right?
Yeah, run Gentry. And I was like, if I was over here literally watching the game, and I said to myself, I said, if they did one play action, their receiver would be so open. Because they was literally stacking the box, and they wasn't even calling no play action. I see they call I think I saw the first half they call 1 or 2 screens for Gentry. But I'm like, where did the coach come in play and say, you know what? They trying to focus in on Gentry because we know that's how Boise State's offense flows, right? Play action. You're gonna be a decoy. You see these plays where it's like it's a fake screen, but the play is going back the other way. Like I didn't see like no real creativity from that Boise State offense. And I think
that would have been the time to do the misdirection stuff. That would have been the time to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was just gonna say it's like they should have took a play. They should have took a page out of the Sark playbook where that was a team that needed some misdirection. It's like Penn State has bigger, stronger, faster athletes, so you need to kind of keep them off center. It's like you can't keep running into that brick wall. You have to kind of like figure a way around it. And it was just like Genty left, Genty right, Genty up the middle, and they just kept doing it all night. And then they're like, why isn't this working?
Yes, dude. And this is the crazy part about it. You could literally sit there and watch it because of the way that the flow of the offense. And it was like, hey, if y'all ran a reverse with Gentry, the whole defense would have been flowing that way, and they would have been wide open. I was like, oh, how Boise State looked like, and people are like, oh, they had the week off. If you had the week off, I would have had so much in play to confuse the hell out of Penn State, they would have been wondering who the hell was going to be. Oh, think about it. This is Boise State. They are known for the Statue of Liberty play.
The Statue of Liberty play.
Like, you Boise State. And you just, it was getting frustrating to me that they just literally just kept up the middle, 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 Gentry. We'll pass here. Them when the game got out of hand, and it's like, okay, now we need to keep throwing the ball. And that was the most frustrating part to me watching that game. I ain't taking it away from Penn State, man. Penn State played their game, and they did what they were supposed to do. Yeah, they did what they were supposed to do. So that's on them. But I mean, you know, and the first thing that people are gonna say is, oh, Boise State, they was overrated. They shouldn't have been ranked that high. Man, they won a conference, man. Like, let them do them. Like, man, people was talking hella crap saying, oh, well, this is why these teams shouldn't be in the playoffs. Who the hell you gonna put in their place? Like, I wouldn't have wanted the way Alabama looked. I wouldn't have wanted to see Alabama play Penn State. Penn State would have beat the brakes off of them too. Like, yeah.
Stop.
Or you see Miami come in and the game would have been tied at the half, and then you say, oh, you know what, Cam Ward, you know, you set your record now. You can go take a seat and here's a popcorn and, you know, a lollipop or something. Like, I wouldn't have wanted to see that. Like, and that's the part that pissed me off. People be like, oh, this team shouldn't have been in and that team shouldn't have been. It's just proving the fact. Like, dude, okay, so who else you gonna put in a place?
Right.
No. Let these teams play it and play it out.
I do think they're probably going to change like the automatic qualifier though. I got a sneaking feeling they're going to change that to where it's just going to be like we're just going to rank the teams and we're going to slot the teams the way they rank to where like this year it would have been Georgia, Texas. It would have been Georgia, Texas, Oregon, and no, it would have been Oregon, Ohio State, probably Georgia, and Texas. What probably would have been the 4th seed instead of 5th seed. So but I do think that's going to stop to where it's like next year you're going to have like Arizona State would have been the 8th seed, and Ohio State would have been the 4th seed. You know, I think they're going to stop that. I don't think they're going to. I think 12 is fine. I think keep it at 12, but I think they're going to do some tinkering with like the automatic qualifiers and stuff like that next year.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna probably get rid of the buys too, and they probably just gonna have like 1 versus 12.
No. I
think they keep the buys.
I think they keep the buys. I mean,
they saw how much money they made at those on-campus games, so they're gonna keep those buys. They're gonna keep those on-campus games.
I don't know.
Don't think I would say. The only thing I would say about it is I think that they did the bye teams a dramatic disservice for not having their first game or their games be at home. Because
they gotta keep the bowl people happy.
Yeah, right. I would like that. It would be nice to have like the bye teams that get the. I mean, you could use the bowls, and I don't know. It's just you have to have the Rose Bowl, you have to have the Sugar Bowl, stuff like that. I get it. So then you would have to start the playoff first week of December if you do that. You know,
like this, for example, this Georgia Notre Dame game, like having that game played in Georgia or Oregon and Ohio State, having that game played in Oregon and Boise. As much as I like the fact that we mopped the floor with them, but the blue field and the whole nine, like,
oh yeah,
what is the perk for being a top 4 seed besides having the home field health? If you use the NFL model as the model, which is where they got this from, the top seed gets the home field, and it is what it was. So I think it's going to be interesting, man. The Final 4 teams: Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame. Games kick off next week. When we convene on Tuesday, we will definitely break those things down. I wanted to transition really quickly to the NFL real quick. I know Villain's not here, but I got to talk about it. I got to speak on it, man. Saquon is resting on Sunday. He is not going to pursue Dickerson's record. I, for one, feel as though that is a great move for the Eagles as a collective. You got Jalen Hurts that is on his way back from being concussed. The last thing you want is for Saquon, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and a couple of the defensive guys to get banged up in a meaningless game. They're already locked to the 2 seed. They can't go higher than that. They can't go lower. They're locked to the 2 seed. They're going to be hosting a wild card game, probably between a division opponent and the Commanders or another team to be mentioned later. I agree with them. I've seen a lot of reports that a lot of people that say they disagree with it. Chase the record is only 100 and some odd yards. The last thing you want is for this guy to go down prior to getting him to the playoffs. You know what? Coach, tell me how you feel, man. We talked about it at length in the group thread. If you want to parlay that to the Giants, screwing themselves out of drafting Shador, we talk about that as well.
Look, I mean, look, first off, I'll say, look, I told you, the Jaguars, they got their eyes on the prize. At least they did. And then they messed up and won. And then it's like the Patriots are like, you know what? Since y'all don't want it, we'll take it. But anyway, but as far as the Saquon Barkley thing, it's like, look, especially with this guy who, look, knock on wood, he hasn't been injured, but he has a history. So it's like, of course, it's like, look, the Eagles are trying to win a Super Bowl. Records are nice. Records are great. Eric Dickerson would probably trade their rushing record for a ring.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best to ever do it. If you told Eric Dickerson, hey, look, we're gonna swap out this rushing record for a ring, and he'd probably yeah, bet.
Let's give it to me now.
Let's do that. But. Yeah, the Eagles have bigger fish to fry. They have their eyes are set on the Super Bowl. Their eyes are set on New Orleans, not a rushing record. It's like Saquon Barkley. Look, I understand. Look, against the Cowboys, if you watch that game, they were trying to give it to him, and I feel like they shut it down in the fourth quarter, and that could have been the time to maybe feed him a couple more, carries or whatever like that. But I don't, people like, oh, well, you got to do this and got to do that. And it's like, I rarely watch First Take, but I mean, I saw Dominique Foxworth and those guys, and they're like, oh, well, you got to go for the record because it's Super Bowl is a team thing, but then you like to have and it's like, no, it's like, you want to win the Super Bowl. You want him to be healthy. You can't now. If this was a situation where it was like the Lions and the Vikings, where this game means something, then of course he'd be playing. This game doesn't mean anything for the Eagles. They're locked into the 2 seed, and I don't see why you risk it. So I 100% agree with sitting Saquon Barkley, because you know what, so he gets the record, but then what if on the record breaking run he blows his quad out? Or tears his knee up or ankle or whatever like that, and then
they play wild card weekend.
And they play wild card weekend because they don't have to buy. So it's just I understand why people oh no, we all want to see history. We love it. You know what I'm saying? It's like I remember when Chris Johnson was making his run toward the record. It was like, I can't stand the Titans, but I was like, this would be cool if he can break the rushing record. You know what I'm saying? Because it's history. We all want to see history and stuff like this, but it's like, in this case, it doesn't make any sense. Every reason to play him doesn't make any sense. So it's like the best decision for him, for the Eagles, for everybody involved, sit him.
Yeah. Larry, talk to me, my man. Saquon Barkley is, sitting out this week along with some other of his teammates, kind of airmailing them to wild card weekend in the playoffs, man. How you feel?
Man, I'm gonna take a little bit different approach, man. I come from that era where players played every game. It didn't matter. And I get it, if the record was 200 yards short. Okay, fine. Barry not on the show, but his Giants gonna probably be playing their third stringers. And Saquon could probably rush for 100 yards in the first quarter. I ain't gonna lie. I'm more the mindset of the Eagles. I get it. You locked into this seed, right? But how many times have we seen where guys, they rest them the week before going into the playoffs, and then you know what happened that first game? They look like shit. And I would have been okay if they would have said, okay, we're gonna play our starters the first quarter, like the preseason game. Well, because they want to stay in some type of game speed. These players, they don't practice in game speed no more. They don't even practice in pads. They walk around in shorts and t-shirts, like la di da.
Guardian caps.
Yeah, yeah. They run around, playing flag football during the week. And I would have liked it if they took the perspective of we're gonna play our starters the first, well, we know Hurts is not gonna play, right? Unless he's cleared concussion. But I would have liked if they would have said, we're gonna take the approach, not going for the record, but we want to keep everybody sharp. And if the record comes along with that, then fine, so be it. But we're gonna play them a couple of plays just to keep them, on the up and up. Like I would hate because that Eagles team has been playing so good. I would hate that they go into that wild card. You got to remember, Hurts didn't play last week, so he's not gonna play this week. So now you go into the wild card. He ain't played in 3 weeks. And if he's out there stinking it up, you can't say, oh, well, it's rust because rust matters. We just got to talking about these college players that's been off for an extra week. Like I look at it from that aspect because my generation, we saw these players, these NFL players, and even if they was like a meaningless game end of the season, kind of like even with Andy Reid, he did it with Patrick Mahomes a couple of years ago. It was like, yeah, he's playing the first quarter, then he'll, get a couple of throws in, and then he's gonna go to the bench, and it's like, okay, now it's time to put in Carson Wentz. It was one of those things where it wasn't you concerned about the injury, it was more about keeping your players sharp, ready for the playoffs. And I've been seeing all the stuff like y'all seeing people like, oh, well, he's getting the extra game and all this stuff. Well, you know what? OJ probably was like, yeah, somebody got an extra 2 games over here on me if you really want to go there. Hey, and I'm quite sure OJ would trade in a whole lot if he got rest his soul. But if he was still, he probably would trade a whole lot for a ring. But yeah, like I said, I look at it from that aspect. But me and Barry, I think I've said in the chat, I also look at it from the aspect of the fans. Like, what if you was a fan and you bought that ticket to the last game saying, oh, it's Saquon's last game against the Giants. I want to see what's going to happen. I feel like they would have sold that game out. It would have been really good for ratings. Now those tickets are probably, you pay $20 and you can call 3 plays and, sit on the sideline, bring your own clicks day, now because nobody's going to want to watch that game, and I would also put it like this. Like this should have been a show Barry should have been on, right? This would be the funniest thing ever. Not only does Saquon not break the record, but what if the Giants win that game and now they didn't fell from like 5 to like 8 or 9? Because that's the way that the seeding for that number 1 pick is going. Like if you could easily go from 1 to like 8 quick because it's like 3 wins, 4 wins between all these teams, and that would be hysterically funny. And especially for somebody from Houston who we all remember Lovie Smith. He's like, just don't win this game. That's all we want.
And then what did Lovie Smith do? He was like, I ain't gonna be here next year, so I don't care.
He's like, man, hey, kiss my ass on the way out. Hey.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this question again. I knew which villain was here. This is two games in a row where Saquon has taken a back seat versus the Giants. He could have broke the record for most yards in the game or whatever the case may be the first time, and then he's in position to take Eric Dickerson's record, the last game of the season, and both times he has somewhat bowed out. And again, I understand that he's a good guy. I've known him, watched his career, from Penn State, everything. What I'm saying? But do you still think that Saquon has a soft spot for the Giants?
Man, you watch Hard Knocks, he was hurt. You can tell by that phone call, his feelings was hurt.
Right, but I mean,
I'm going to use this analogy. It's like, okay, I'm going to use this analogy. It's like, I don't have a baby mama, but I know a bunch of my bros have baby mamas. Okay, so you've been with somebody, you have a kid with somebody. It's like, as much as my one partner can't stand his baby mama, you know, it's like, you know what, he's like, that's still my kid's mother. So I always have a soft spot for her raggedy ass, even though like I can't stand her. That's my kid's mother. So with Saquon, it's like, man, he spent most of his career in New York, so he probably still have a soft spot for the Giants. I don't think he's like doing this on purpose, but I mean, he still knows a bunch of those guys over there. He still, it's like, it's not like he's been gone for 5 or 6 years. He was just there. So I'm sure he has somewhat of a soft spot for the Giants, but I mean, he's still a professional. It's like, I mean, he's with the Eagles now. So I don't think he's like purposely like, you know what, I'm gonna take a little bit easy on the Giants because, like, I still know a lot of the people over there. I don't think he's doing that.
But then, Steve, you know what? I look at it like this too. Maybe he is like. I think honestly, I feel like he by that phone call, he was like a little hurt. He was like, his high school girlfriend just broke up with him. He was like, "Boy, you want me to look around? Like I'm trying to stay here. Like I've been trying to stay here." He was a little hurt, but I think he also looks at it from that standpoint. Saquon is gonna go in the Hall of Fame, and he's gonna have a Giants bust. Saquon's gonna go in that, Ring of Fame. He's gonna need be, called back to do a bunch of Giants promos, and he's gonna come back for the, whatever team, and he don't want to burn those bridges because everybody know ain't no way in hell Jimmy Johnson should not have been in the Cowboys Ring of Fame. Ain't no freaking way. We all know that these owners will hold those grudges. And Saquon probably look at it like, yeah, I do want to be able to come back home. I want to, not if I come back to play, but I want to come back home and be able to, I don't know, be on Giants broadcast or whatever the hell he want to do. And it's gonna be some type of it's gonna, like Steve said, like a baby mama. We got to keep in some type of communication. We gonna have to, you got to see me, maybe not this year, but you're gonna see me in 4 years or something when I retire. You're gonna see me in some type of way. And I think he don't want to burn those bridges.
I mean, Larry, you're a 49ers fan. Remember how nasty that split was with Montana in the 49ers? It was gross. It was nasty. Okay, but because he's Joe Montana, he was able to slowly but surely rebuild that relationship with the 49ers. And now it's like he's out there like in the red jacket, and him and Jerry Rice out there palling around on the sideline and stuff.
And they throwing passes to each other.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can see a similar situation where it's like, you know what? Time will heal that wound, and he'll be back in his big blue blazer doing stuff on the sideline, doing all kind of like community stuff for the Giants and stuff like that. Same way like Andre Johnson went back after his little spat with the Texans, and you see it all the time with these players. Like James Harrison played for the Bengals, and then went to play for the Patriots
and the Patriots
and the Patriots. And guess what? He still don't got to buy a drink nowhere in this damn town.
Nope.
So
Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, I think he don't want to burn those bridges. They might have already told him, look, we got this brand ambassador cushy job for you when you retire, call some games, do whatever you want to do. He don't want to burn those bridges. So
and they're gonna pay him $12 million to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The typical Giants stuff. But I think this is one of them. But that's actually been hilarious. And as much as the NFL like to sell their storylines, I'm surprised the NFL did like say, hey, look, let's play a quarter, play 3 snaps. That game would literally be sold out. That game would be literally like standing room only if Saquon was playing to break the record against the Giants, bro. They would have had Tom Brady calling that game, bro. I'm just being for real. That would have been a Tom Brady and I don't know, Troy Aikman combo deal game being called. That would have been like, that would have been a game that they would have had that being the move to the primetime game. I'm just saying that'd have been must-see TV. So somebody must didn't say nothing, but we'll see.
Before we get out of here, I wanted to discuss the popularity contest, better known as the Pro Bowl. We had some guys not make the original roster. We had some guys that are on the roster that shouldn't be there. We ain't got to spend a lot of time on this, man, Larry. We talked about it at length in the group chat, but AFC, we got Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. Quarterbacks, running backs, we got Derrick Henry, Bro Mixon, which I think is interesting. And then we got Jonathan Taylor, Patrick Ricard with the fullback, Jamar Chase, Jerry Judy, Nico Collins, Zay Flowers, the receivers, Brock Bowers, Travis Kelce, offensive
Man,
linemen.
why you going through that, Ben? I just want to know, in what world did we come to with Larry Tunsil is Pro Bowl? Like, is that the quality of offensive line play that we get now?
I mean, Deion Dawkins, Larry Tunsil, Slater, Nelson. Like, what the heck?
Man, what's guy? I forgot he was hurt. That's probably why he didn't make it. Zeus in the Cincinnati. I was like, that's probably why he didn't make it. Because I'm like, Tunsil.
Yeah, Tunsil made it, man. Then NFC side, if you want to run through that, NFC guys, we got. Let me flip this over real quick. We got Jared Goff, Jaden Daniels, Sam Darnold, Saquon, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Allen, Juszczyk from your Niners, Jay Jettis, Amon-Ra, CD, Scary Terry, made another Pro Bowl, Kittle, McBride, then offensive lineman. If you want to flip defense, Nick Bosa, Micah Parsons, which I think is funny, Rashawn Gary from the Green Bay Packers.
Didn't he miss like 6 games? Remember we was arguing about his high ankle sprain?
Once again, it's a popularity contest, which I think is disrespectful because there are players that should be on this list that are contracts or incentive based that are not on this list.
Yeah, which I think it's ridiculous that players still like sign contracts with all these like Pro Bowl incentives and stuff like that. Because I mean, it's a flag football game and like a skills competition and stuff like that. It's not how it used to be. And like I said in the group chat, and I'll bring it here on the air. It's like I'm a guy who always valued like the All Pro team more than the Pro Bowl, because the Pro when they opened the Pro Bowl up to like fan voting and stuff like that. Then yeah, it's a popularity contest just like the NBA. It's like who's selling shoes, who's popular, who do the general public like, or whatever like that. That's why whenever I look at a player's career, I'm always like, you know what, Pro Bowls are nice. I mean, but how many All Pro teams did you make? That's what I look at.
Yeah.
Hey Steve, but I'll say this, right? This is where I'm gonna go with it. The Pro Bowl, yeah, it's a complete absolute fucking joke, right? But I grew up in the age where like Sean Taylor was laying out punters. Like dudes actually played. Like that's the most frustrating part when you watch, the old product that you grew up with versus today. Well, like I say, guys played. Guys would play like week 16, they would play that game. Now, if they were in the playoffs and they knew that they didn't want to get hurt, they would play a couple of plays, then come out, then you would see the backups. Or like if they wasn't playing for nothing, they would still play the starters, even if they wasn't playing for nothing, right? Now these guys are like, oh no, we don't want nobody to get hurt. No, this and this. Oh, they don't practice. That's the reason why they get hurt so much. Then it's like, oh, okay, well, it's the Pro Bowl. We don't want anybody to get hurt playing the Pro Bowl. Like, it's a fucking football game. Like, play. Like,
yeah, just play football. Just go out there and play football. You'll be fine. Yeah.
If you get hurt, you get hurt, bro. That's part of the playing the game. But then it's like the Pro Bowl is so bad, nobody even wants to watch it. And then now, for me, we get into these arguments. We got into these arguments about Hall of Fame, who should be in the Hall of Fame, who should not be in the Hall of Fame. But they look at that. They look at it. 8-time Pro Bowler, 9-time Pro Bowler, 8-time Pro Bowler. They look at that stuff and they use it as a measuring stick to say if a guy is a Hall of Famer or not, which we know that's a popularity contest now. So we're going to see some guys that get in the Hall of Fame. We're going to be like, I don't know about that. Or we're going to see some guys that they have to wait, 3 or 4 years to get in because they got 2 Pro Bowls.
Right.
When they really should have been more, but they not those popular players. And that's the part that pisses me off and I get serious. Yeah, guys do sign contracts to make that part of incentives. That's why they can not be counted part of the cap. You make the Pro Bowl, it's another 10 million, stuff like that. But I look at it also from the aspect of now, because it's a popularity contest, you're going to see guys that really get in the Hall of Fame and probably shouldn't have been in. I mean, hey, I'm gonna say it like this: we might have gone. I think this is what Tunsil's like fifth. We might have just go ahead and get for his ready for his Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah, so start fitting him for the gold jacket now.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. That's
because
crazy.
by the time it's over with, at this rate, he's gonna have 9 or 10 Pro Bowls, and they'll look at like this and that and whatever like that, and like, oh, they'll bring up some PFF, like bullshit stat or whatever like that. Like, oh well, he only allowed a 18% like sack rate or what, and it's like, okay, all right.
But he retired with the most false starts in history.
Right.
I mean, look. Joe
That.
Namath has more interceptions than touchdowns. Have you ever looked at Troy Aikman's stats? But the biggest stat is 3 Super Bowls.
Dude, you know what? Like, for people that love Brett Favre, which Brett Favre is a piece of shit, but Brett Favre, like, if you look at his touchdowns, they damn near neck and neck with them interceptions. Like, he threw a lot of interceptions.
And he might have a couple, like literally a couple more touchdowns.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if you start really looking at some of these quote unquote Hall of Fame resumes, you'll be like, wow. But then on the flip side, you look at somebody like Curtis Martin, and it's like, okay, Curtis Martin. But then you look at his stats, and it's like, well, damn, Curtis Martin is a Hall of Famer. Like, look, like you.
Hey, I'm a fan. Frank Gore. I think Frank Gore
had
like 1 or 2 Pro Bowls. And Frank Gore.
So Troy Aikman had 155 touchdowns, 141 picks.
Yeah.
Look, I don't be just talking out the side of my neck here, serious. I'm telling you, man. Like, look at Troy Aikman's stats. His best stat, his best credential for the Hall of Fame is he was a quarterback for the Cowboys dynasty. If you look at if he played for the Bucks or the Cardinals or the Eagles, he would not be in the Hall of Fame.
And you know what makes it even more egregious? He played behind, it was like 4 or 5
that offensive
Hall
line
of
was
Fame
insane.
linemen and a Pro Bowl fullback. So that means Troy was just sitting back there forever and said, you know what, I think I'll throw it to the other team.
Yeah, wide receiver, Hall of Fame. Running back, he was handed off to, Hall of Fame. The fullback who was blocking for him,
Daryl Johnson.
Daryl Johnson.
Daryl Johnson should be in the Hall of Fame.
Who should be in the Hall of Fame? You had Larry Allen, Hall of Fame. Nate Newton, Hall of Fame. Like all these guys who are in the Hall of Fame, like Mark Tuinei should be in the Hall of Fame. Eric Williams should be in the Hall of Fame. It's like, so it's like,
it wasn't like he was running for his life.
Look, and this is no hate. I think Troy Aikman is fantastic, but I said, like, if you look at some of these quote unquote Hall of Famers, these Pro Bowls and some of this stuff like that are propping their ass up, and that's why they ain't candy.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the sad part about it. Mm-hmm. We're gonna see some guys and we're gonna be like, what? Yeah, but you think to yourself, be like, oh yeah, they did make like 5, 6 Pro Bowls. Mm-hmm. And people are gonna be like, yeah, oh yeah, he's a likable guy too, so we'll put him in. Like, I grew up and I hated it to death. Charles Haley should not have waited that long to be in the Hall of Fame. But Charles Haley only had like, I think he was like 1 or 2 Pro Bowls. He didn't have that many Pro Bowls.
Because there was this guy named Reggie White that existed.
Reggie White, yeah.
They both could have went to the Pro Bowl. It's 2 DNs. But the thing about it was they did not like his ass. They hated his ass, and they weren't putting him. That's when it was just strictly the writers.
Wasn't the nicest guy. Charles wasn't a great guy.
So now you sit back and you look at it and you like, man, that dude is a monster. Like, that dude was a beast, but they made him wait. And now you're gonna look at some guys and be like, they was okay, but I didn't look at them as being Hall of Fame worthy. And they're gonna be like, oh yeah, first ballot Hall of Famer, 10 Pro Bowls. What? Yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
Looking at these stats, man, now I'm down a rabbit hole. Let me get out of here.
The most egregious thing to me that really kind of tripped me out was that a lot of these players that are making the Pro Bowl, they're going to make the Pro Bowl, be in the playoffs, and not play.
Oh yeah,
or opt out.
Well, I mean, again, the Super Bowl. I mean, Lamar Jackson's a Pro Bowler. Not Joe Burrow, but Josh Allen's a Pro Bowler. Mm-hmm. Chances are those two will probably make the Super Bowl. God, God, I hope not. But anywho, those guys probably make the Super Bowl.
They go with Scarlet. Most of these guys they gonna opt out anyway.
They're gonna opt out. You know, the Vikings got 9 people, you know, nominated for the Pro Bowl. If they make the Super Bowl, they all opting out. So
yeah, they all opting out anyway.
It's frustrating, but let me get you guys out of here, man. You know what, Coach?
I'll say my last thing. As much as I hate Bosa ass, he don't need to be a Pro Bowler either.
No, he don't. He needs to be somewhere gone. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, Coach, man, thanks for popping on and kicking it with us, man. Give me a plug and a close out. We shut it down, big homie.
You know, once again, glad to be a part of another boardroom meeting. As we always say, if you see the link, share the link. You know, help us out. 2025, we got big things coming y'all way. So keep rocking with the execs, man. And y'all already know how I close it out. You know, it's a new year, but it's the same old closeout. God is good
all the time.
You know, make sure y'all drink y'all water, even with the polar vortex coming our way up north. Make sure you still stay hydrated because you're gonna be wrapped up in your coats and your scarves and stuff like that. So make sure you're staying hydrated. And of course, last but definitely not least, Wu-Tang is for the children. Peace.
Thank you, big dog. Thank you, big dog. I'm gonna be looking forward to kicking it with him on Sunday, man. We got a WWE show we're doing Sunday. That's gonna be fun. Looking forward to doing that, man. Larry, man, you know what to do, my guy. Give me a plug, brother. Shut it down, big homie.
Hey, y'all boys gonna kick that WWE show off, but I'm waiting on that launch pad. The launch pad is coming. It is in the works. It is coming, people. The launch pad. We about to kick off this Rockets. We about to do some things, man. I had to put that plug in, man. Look, y'all got the WWE show. I'm looking forward to this launch pad, man. We about to do some things over here. Like they say, man, we're gonna be in the house.
Yeah, I'm in the crib.
See the show, share the show, man. You know, hey, whatever you own, make sure you turn on them notifications so you get the alerts when we going on live. And you know, like I say, we it's 2025, man. We about to do some things, man. Let's get it popping. That's all I'm gonna say.
Appreciate you, big dog, man. Thanks for coming and kicking it with us, man.
Yeah, man. Tell Barry I hope his Giants get the 9th pick.
Wow, not the 9th. You wrong for that.
He ain't sick, man. He just sick because the Giants blew that pick. That's what it was. All right, yo, I'm out, man.
All right, man, dog. I'll holler at you, man. Yo, it's your boy Serious repping that 412 and the 703, man. It's such a privilege and a pleasure to be able to do this show with you guys on a regular basis, man. Happy New Year to everybody who's under the sound of my voice, man. Again, if you see the show, share the show. I love doing this, man. Shout out to my friends and my family who's been supporting me. Shout out to my buddies at Nonsense and Deep Thoughts. Looking forward to getting on the WWE show. My man Aaron on Sunday. My man Jared helping me behind the scenes, put stuff together, making the videos, and making sure that it looks really, really nice around his hair parts, man. With that being said, love your neighbor, love your enemies, hug your family, tell them you love them. With that being said, God bless, peace.